Hi, everyone. Um, I hope you're having a good day so far. Mine just began. Uh, what day is it today? Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday. Anyhow, this video is all about my transformation. The process, how I felt, the differences between the old me and the new me. I felt the need to do this because I've been getting questions and messages from some of you, you wanting to know what it felt like, how it happened, how I dealt with everything, and maybe I didn't go in depth on that in my videos. And so, excuse me, I'm going to go into that. For me, this transformation, actually, now that I look back on it, it started around exactly, actually, when the Venus retrograde took place, March 4th. I was just being... I'm trying to fix the lighting. Okay. I was just being bombarded with emotions and energy that was forcing me to deal with the stuff that I didn't really want to deal with, or thought that I already dealt with and healed and released. And so that's how that started. So what I did was it was all overwhelming because I just didn't know where to start. I started going to nature, taking my walks on the beach, and trying to do a meditation. But at that time, because there was so much coming to the surface, I just felt like I needed to talk it out. And so as I'm listening to meditation music and I'm walking on the beach, I'm having this inner dialogue with myself. Honestly, sometimes it could be out loud. I didn't care. And so that sort of gave me a perspective on what's really going on in here. Spirit started communicating with me, and I think I might have done a video about that. Being able to view things as an observer. And another thing that helped me, person I should say, he's not a thing, is I started revisiting a lot of Eckhart Tolle's teachings and messages. I know when I first pondered upon his book a few years ago, maybe I wasn't ready for it. I was just like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do this, being present in the now, the ego mind, all of that. But when I revisited his, I don't have his book anymore because every time I buy a book of his, I end up lending it out to someone and they just never give it back to me. And you know what? That's totally fine because that means it's helping. So since I didn't have his book, I started looking up his videos on YouTube. And he has such a soothing voice too. I find that I listen to him as I'm going to sleep. And his message is basically, well, let me go back to why it's important for me to listen to him as I'm going to sleep. Not only is he so soothing that he puts me to sleep, and that's not to say anything bad about how he speaks. He's not boring. Actually, his words and his teachings are absolutely vital to my transformation. But, when you go to sleep while you're listening to stuff, although you're asleep, you think you're not processing it, your subconscious is. And so you wake up knowing this information. So that was what was happening to me. That was contributing to my transformation. So he talked a lot about living out of the ego mind and how incredibly limiting the ego is to us. Because we are a multi-dimensional being. We are used to viewing things in a multi-dimensional way. Okay? And the ego mind limits you to just what's in front of you. There's no multi-dimensional way of looking at things or looking at the bigger picture. Ego is part of our conditioning. Okay, that's what I've come to conclude to. So the way I picture it is this. You are in this vast, vast, vast darkness. And I don't mean darkness in a negative way. Darkness meaning you're still learning. There's a lot that you haven't put light on yet. And you are this big, bright light that could potentially shine the light on this vastness. And that's a part of your learning here. What the ego mind does is it reduces your huge light to a tiny little flashlight. So you're only seeing a tiny portion of the picture. It could be life situations. It could be whatever you're here to learn. And so that's how the ego mind reduces you. So examples of that would be how you react to situations, your immediate reaction. It's not really you because you haven't really processed everything yet. So you tend, when you are faced with challenging situations, confrontations, you go sometimes into the fight or flight, which is fine. That's part of the human, thought process, mind process, psyche. That's our defense mechanism. That's what I mean by ego mind. It's also what protects you, and it's needed sometimes. But you have to discern for yourself what is the best way to react to situations for your overall consciousness. If you are in immediate danger, of course, go with the ego. Go to fight or flight. Protect yourself. But if this has to do with your emotional well-being, you're not in any immediate danger, that's what I learned on how to react outside of the ego brain. Trying to view the bigger picture and keeping my overall emotional and consciousness well-being in mind. That comes first. That's what I learned from Eckhart is nothing is more important than the state of your consciousness. So every time you react out of your ego brain, you are reducing your consciousness. It's bringing harm to you in an emotional way, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I hope this makes sense to some of you. But so I listened to a lot of his recordings regarding the ego, regarding depression. He also went through, before his awakening, he was a pretty depressed guy, and he talks about how his soul's evolution took place. And so I learned a lot from him. Also, I was reading this already. I was savoring it, but this book helped me. I don't know if you guys can see it. She's a medium. Survival of the Soul. And she, in this book, talks about basically our soul's evolution, what we're here to do, how we cross over, how we have multiple lives. This also helped a lot. It just it was more than confirmation, because I am already aware of the spirit world, how we have multiple lifetimes, but she also talks about the emotional state. Let me bring my thoughts together. Her clients that come to her for mediumship, and how it can either emotionally hinder them or help them. She talks about also letting go. Constantly connecting to the other side, connecting to the past. She talks about what she saw in her clients, how that hinders their evolution. And so that helped a lot also, because I was doing a lot of that. I was trying to get out of this reality, because it just, to me, it sucked. I didn't want to deal with all of this. So I was trying to leave my body, trying to go to the past. So between this book and Eckhart Tolle brought me to the present. This is kind of unrelated, but this is a book I'm reading now. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, the Moses Code. Oh, the lighting is bad. But this is all about manifestation. Okay, I haven't read all of it yet, but I have read maybe like 3 or 4 chapters, and I'm hooked. So this talks about how God helped Moses manifest all of what he manifested to get the Israelites out of Egypt. It also challenges a lot of the what was written in the Bible of, what God said between him and Moses. And so I like that as well, because a lot of the challenges that were brought up here, I've been challenging myself. So that is also being addressed. So this is great. This is teaching me how to manifest. To me, I feel like this is the most important book that we can read. One of them, at least. So anyway, back to my transformation. So those are the tools that I used. And so the changes that I saw in myself once, I found these tools to help me is how I reacted to situations. It's sort of like rising above it. My whole consciousness, it went up another level. Like there is just so much love pouring into my heart. My heart also opened during this process. I found my own love, and I just but I chose to go through this, what could have been a painful experience, through love. You have your choice. And I think I've said that before. You can either go through this period through love and understanding, or you can go through the nitty-gritty of it, like totally feeling your emotions. And that's fine. Some people actually enjoy that. I've talked to some people that say, I just like to feel it all and just release it. That's fine. For me, that did not serve me well. I just did not want that anymore. I've been feeling a lot for so long. I wanted something different. And that's what I did. I asked Spirit, I said, I just don't want to be and feel like this anymore. I want a change. And I asked for it wholeheartedly. And that's what I got. You always get what you ask for if you're doing it from a good place in your heart. What you put out, like I said before, what you put out to the universe is what you get back, sometimes tenfold. So yeah, I chose to go through this journey with love. And so my reaction changed, how I viewed things changed, who I thought was here to, hurt me or whatever, or who I thought was my enemy, I realized it's not. They are a huge part of my evolutionary process. And so that's how this transformation happened for me. I am looking at life in such a different way. Interactions have changed. At work, at home, with friends, with strangers. I find now I'm social, but not really. I'm sort of an introvert, but I find that I'm putting myself out there more. I'm wearing my heart in my sleeve. I am ready and willing to share all of what I have in here, the wisdom, the knowledge that I have gained with strangers. I talk to people on the street. I find that I'm more connected to people now, ever before. So yeah, that's another part of me that has changed. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say on my transformation. I hope this answers some of your questions, those that have reached out. And I will see you guys on the next video. Love and light.